Good afternoon. My name is Edward Oberholtzer. I'm the resident priest here at the Joseph Priestley Zen Sangha in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. We're an affiliate of Empty Moon Zen. A friend of ours was saying the other day that she discovered that her 7-year-old daughter was into Diana Ross and the Supremes when the daughter asked her father what a love child was. As you might imagine, hilarity ensued. But thinking back on it, I was once called out by my own teacher for using that phrase when I asserted, thinking of course that I was citing him, that Zen is the love child of Buddhism and Daoism. No, he pointed out. If anything, Zen is the love child of Buddhism, Daoism, and Confucianism. Who knew that the spiritual world involved polyamorous relationships? But joking aside, the movement which the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy calls Neo-Daoism, a reformed Taoism from the 3rd and 4th centuries of the Common Era, which sought to meld Confucianism with a philosophical Taoism, had a profound effect on Mahayana Buddhism, laying the groundwork for what became Chan in China and later Zen in Japan. Taoism had, during the course of violent political struggles in China, become a refuge for the common people, granting them access to local gods and goddesses, and seeking to find the secret to immortality, if not through an external alchemy of pills, herbs, and minerals, mostly mercury, with all of its unhappy effects, if not externally, then through an internal alchemy which sought the resources for attaining immortality within the resources of one's own body. But the Taoism of Lao Tzu looked not to immortality, but to a way of living in harmony with the world around us. And the Reformed Taoism, as presented by such scholars as Wang Bi, who, by the way, died at the age of 23, having collected the final text of the Tao Te Ching, still used today, as well as writing a commentary on it, which found within Lao Tzu's writings the ground of being, the 10,000 things emerging from the one, and then returning in an endless cycle, a cycle and a way that resists being reduced to language. The Tao Te Ching, written almost 1,000 years prior to Bodhidharma, lays it out. The way that can be spoken of is not the constant way. The name that can be named is not the constant name. And we both know this, and fail to know this. I want to know. I want to learn, to acquire skill and knowledge, a place for everything and everything in its place, to know the names of things. One of the first accomplishments of man, of Adam, if we can give credence to the Hebrew Bible, is to have named the animals. Name something and you gain dominion over it. Think of the cultures where people are given a secret name, a name that must be kept from the eyes of those who would harm you. Find that name and you acquire power. T.S. Eliot knew this, and in his Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats, he mused on the naming of cats. But above and beyond, there is still one name left over, and that is the name you never will guess, the name that no human research can discover, but the cat himself knows and will never confess. When you notice a cat in profound meditation, the reason I tell you is always the same. His mind is engaged in rapt contemplation, of the thought, of the thought, of the thought of his name, his ineffable, ineffable, deep and inscrutable, singular name. But the Tao, the way, is beyond naming. And so we have Bodhidharma telling us, admittedly in a verse written down centuries after his death, that Chan, Zen if you will, is a special transmission outside the scriptures, not depending on words and letters, directly pointing to the mind, seeing into one's true nature and attaining Buddhahood. You need only turn to Mahasattva Fu, that master of the Diamond Sutra, to see this put into action. And it was action, not words, that Fu used to expound the sutra in case 67 of the Blue Cliff Record, where we read, Emperor Wu of Liang invited Mahasattva Fu to lecture on the Diamond Sutra. On the rostrum, Mahasattva Fu struck the lectern once with his stick and immediately climbed down. The emperor was astonished. Master Ji asked, Your Majesty, do you understand? No, I do not, said the emperor. Mahasattva Fu has finished the lecture. When Wittgenstein in his Tractatus Logico Philosophicus wrote, Whereof one cannot speak, thereof one must be silent, he was not pointing to a lack of ability, but to the clear fact that some things are beyond words, some things are a special transmission outside scriptures, a name that cannot be named. In the first koan of The Gateless Gate, Zhao Zhou responds to a monk's question, does even a dog have Buddha nature, with the single word, wu? Yes, in Japan it becomes mu. Often in the West it is rendered as no, and it is this no. But it is also the boundless emptiness, remembering that form is exactly emptiness. Mu within Daoism can be rendered as absence, as the ground out of which all things arise and return. So the central Taoist concept of Wu Wei is not simply no action, though that is an exact translation, but it is action that arises out of that ground of being, action in accordance with the universe. Wu Shang, or no birth, becomes birth out of that vast field of emptiness that precedes birth. Wu Xin, no mind, becomes not a mind that is empty, but a mind emerging from that void. Wu Wei is no more non-action than Shikantaza is sitting with a mind emptied of all thought. The Tao Te Ching goes on. Returning is the movement of Tao. Weak is the functioning of Tao. 10,000 things under heaven are born of being. Being is born of non-being, of Wu. It is this non-being, this Wu, this Mu. Here is the source of the Tao. Here is the stream to which we, as Zen practitioners, should give more than a passing glance. We, after all, offer immortality in this very moment. Here, sitting quietly on the Safu. Here, being immortal. Zen embraces the entire world, the entire universe, the 10 directions, throughout space and time. Lao Tzu does the same. I always picture him in the Song of the Grassroot Hermitage, though perhaps it's Chuang-Tzu, his successor, who is taking the nap, a nap that is an awakening. Thank you.